Okay, good morning. So we are talking about the February 2025 Alma and Primo feature release notes. Um, First up, the two new UX sections for titles and holding search and the manage patron services are going to become default. So if you haven't switched over to those, you may want to, or at least check them out. Um, if you go to your own account and go to feature rollout preferences, you can turn those on now. And for a while, they until May, you will still be able to turn them off. So even though on will be the default in February, the old UI will be available until May. Um, so we have gone over the patron services page in a previous meeting um, before, and the title search was launched, and then it had some issues, so they pulled it back, and now it is out again. So um, it really kind of maximizes the side-by-side views as well as the table views for both of those different sections. And there's a lot of new links and functionalities. So I recommend checking those out now, letting your frontline services and catalogers know if they're not in these meetings. Uh, Another new uh, functionality that's going to be available here in a couple weeks is an alert sound. Now, on the one hand, this could be great, but I also know that a lot of front desk computers don't have speakers, so it may not be that great in practice. But if you want to turn this on after the February release, um, it is pretty easy to find. So it's configuration, fulfillment, physical fulfillment, and then it's going to be down here at the bottom, sound alert configuration. And there are 4 or 5 sound options. If it will load. Oi, the sandbox. But these sounds can play when when a user, staff user, is in the patron services circulation module and they there's some kind of block. I don't know. Can you hear my computer? Um, oh, that's awful. Wow. So, um, anyway, so that is available. Individually, staff will be able to turn it off if you have configured it to turn on for the institution level, but this will not, no sound will continue to be the default. So there won't be a change in February, but you can uh, turn it on in February. I wanted to spend probably the most amount of time kind of looking at these new um, holding search functionality because these are a direct result of the new titles and holding search UI. So we'll kind of go through these one by one. So we'll flip back and forth. Um, so we'll get out of this. And so if we're doing a physical holding search, and I just did a really general one. So the new UI does allow for table view or record view. as well as the split screen view. The table view is great because it puts all of the information into columns so you can very quickly, um, you know, see that parallel information. Um, the record view is nope is nice because when you click on a holdings record, you can get that split screen with this information here. One of the so the having that table view, the search configuration can now be customized, and that is under this over here. So users can customize their view, and fulfillment administrators can customize the institution view. Um, we've got a lot more actions that you can do right from the holding records. So if we look at this, I'm going to close the side by side just to make it a little more visible. So we have the edits holdings like we've had and the view holdings, but now this the more actions button has view items, view title, add item from template, and delete holdings all in here. It also quick links the item link to the pop-up item record, where under more actions, you can manage quite a few more actions there. Um, if you click on this, you can hop through the different sections of the holdings record. And under quick access, you can either find a specific field or find an action that you want to do, like add item. And then it just pops up. So a little bit more intuitive. The quick access also has the shortcut of pressing the period on your keyboard to open that quick access menu. So some nice accessibility, usability, navigation tools there. The enhanced detail pane, few different section names. Okay, so this is cool. So exclude facets. I like a good exclude facet. Um, so if we only want to look at not the main library's holdings, we can now exclude and apply within the facets here, and then you get the excluded facet button up top, so you can easily remove. Um, and it's, just another way to sort results. So if you're like, no, I don't want these two random Deweys, whatever. So nice exclude facet. Now, what I what they've also introduced is more labels. Uh, so labels have been popping up in all parts of Alma Primo. User labels are kind of the thing, right? So I can imagine a number of ways that you could use labels. But let's just say that we want to label books that are more popular versus books that are very much like academic. And so, okay, $2 a day. I don't know why that's in this list. That looks, it's slightly, it's not in French. We'll call it. Action versus contemplation. Sure. Okay. And then you're like, okay, all of these books, we are thinking about adding them to a new collection or something. So we've selected 3 titles here, and you go up to the Manage Labels button. And from here, if you are a fulfillment manager, wait, what does it say? It is, um, you have to be a manager or administrator, to add a label, but otherwise you can only add existing labels. But say like you're like, I'm working on a collection here, so I'm making a collection, and I select it, the new one that I created, and I hit apply, and now we have these labels, and if we click um, on the label, we can edit it. Um, you can I believe the idea is that you could eventually, you should be able to search on the label, supposedly. Uh, but I don't like, yeah, know how it goes. Let's see if it works. Nope. Okay. So, got some figuring out to do. Um, this updates to holding search video that is linked in here. We've had quite a few people join us. I'll copy the link and throw it in chat again. Um, is a nice little overview of all of these functions. So if you want to take 4 minutes and take a look at that. So the adding labels, again, I can imagine some potential ways that it's could be used, but I'm not, I thought you were supposed to be able to search on it, and we've added a label and I wasn't able to search on it. So I'll poke around with that a little bit more.
Does it
Um,
take overnight to get indexed?
I don't think so. So like, did that search. Let's and so we've got
Well,
that
and I've sometimes run into things where stuff doesn't work in the sandbox like it's supposed to, like
posted.
it does in normal Alma.
Yeah,
So
so we'll have to
who
kind of
knows?
yeah, we'll see when it actually goes live. Um, I don't believe that these labels are these are not user like front end user labels. These are staff user labels. Um, the example in the video that they use was like staff favorites. Um, but I could imagine, like if someone was doing a weeding project, like and wanted to start tagging things as like under consideration for being weeded or being replaced, um, and so that multiple people could take a look at that stuff. But again, not exactly sure, but I guess it'll get there. Um, so yeah, there's just a that new UI includes a lot more actions, also from title searches. There are more actions available directly from the record list, including, and this is a little bit further down, um, toggling to missing status. So here we have a title search, and we have the quick uh, link to the holdings. And then, nope, shoot, mess that up. Um, so we had the quick link to the holdings that came out in the split screen. Um, a quick link to the items that come out as the pop-up screen. Quick link to orders as the pop-up screen. Meh. They've added this icon to the physical information, but you can also from here now do quite a bit more actions than before. So adding to a collection, or adding to a reading list, uh, all of that. So now I want to show you the toggle missing. So we've got the items here, and toggle missing status is now available right from the more actions. And you don't have to go into if the item went missing from a workflow, you no longer have to go all the way into the workflow to put it into missing, which can kind of be a mess. So like if that had been in transit, which I suppose I could find an item in trans and I don't actually know if uh mm, in process type. Say, yeah. So got withdraw. We've got, oh, nope, that's not. Anyway, and here we see just how unfamiliar I am with some of the technical services and cataloging workflows because that is the area of libraries that I have not worked in. But hopefully this is helpful for folks who do that work. The authority control linking, this was one that I threw in here because I know that there will be a few of you who do want to poke into this. So the new functionality has some more input parameters for the automated linking to the authority records. And so they've added these rules, um, which I do not know what those mean. But if you do and you're excited about this, then I am happy for you. And if someone's on the call who can explain it a little bit to the rest of us, maybe, but not necessary. Um, but okay. The next thing, I've gotten quite a few questions about the new Counter R 5.1 and how it will impact um, usage reporting and sushi harvesting. So they've actually done a really nice job of making it simple as um, vendors add the 5.1 to their like approved versions. Um, it's very easy to switch it. So I'm going to show you that. So in your vendor records, if you have a sushi vendor, so we've got ProQuest here. So we go into the usage data and we have the existing sushi account for R5. You can go with a blank sushi account form by saying add sushi account. But what's really neat is the R5 ones will be using all of the same connection data. So, whether it's customer ID or password, whatever. So you can just from more actions on your R5s create basically a mirrored R51 account. So it's going to copy over all of the request details as well as all of the usage reports that you've already set up. So right now, and I'll just show you. So if you go to release 5.1 and you look for a sushi account, the only vendor that is currently doing 5.1 and is ProQuest. So that's the only one. If you wanted to add it, you could. I if there is an important note in here that if um you where is it? Yeah, here it is. Once you create the R51, um the R51 harvesting will start from the current month. And R5 will stop so that there's no data duplication um, from month to month. So that's like, I think I would wait. Um, the differences between 5 and 5.1 are not significant. And if you are working on reports right now, the ACRL and iPads or, budget things or whatever, I don't think, like if you have ProQuest set up and then you're switching from 5 to 5.1, all of the reports that I've built, in that statistics reporting dashboard are only R5. And I don't know that I will necessarily have time to build and test and kind of like accuracy check an R51 report just for one vendor. So we'll keep an eye on this, and I'll definitely let you know when I recommend moving vendors over to 5.1. Uh, if, the major vendors all have 5.1 by July, maybe switch them then, because then you're doing that, July to June cycle, and it's not going to be quite so weird. And by July, I will definitely have had time to create new reports so that we can kind of parallel the 5 and the 5.1. Um, so yeah, so you can create those, and when you go into analytics, which isn't available in the sandbox, so I can't even show you really until it's live. But in analytics, the 5.1 reports will be in the R5 folder. So it won't have a new folder. The reports will just sit next to it. So we'll take a look at that when that happens too. This one might just be a good general knowledge thing. I don't think it will significantly impact. But if there is a linked PO to a bibliographic record with a CZ update, it will get updated. And there were also a few little title changes in the PO line display. So they had a lot of redundancy in the label names. And so they've just simplified those a bit. So just, you can expect a little bit of change there. We've already managing sets labels. So like the holdings, um, you can also label your sets, which actually this is far more functional in my opinion. So like if you have sets that are for user management, or you have sets that are for a specific librarian's evaluation work, or you have sets that, like maybe you just want to keep them, like you want to add a label that's just keep until a certain date and then delete. Um, the you can add labels the same kind of way that I showed you before with the holdings, except the manage label button is hidden under the more action here. So here's the manage labels. So you can add or remove. So we could remove the Skagit Valley label from that one. So you saw as I typed, it went ahead and searched for that existing one. And now it no longer says Skagit Valley there. It just says collections work. Um, this is that new holdings UI. Um, and you can even see when we um, split the screen, those little tags still are slightly visible. So that's nice. And this is the way that I am expecting the labels filter to work, or facet, I suppose, in holdings that we weren't seeing. You can now, let's clear selection. We can limit to the sets with specific labels. So I know sometimes, like you end up with dozens and dozens and dozens of sets, so you can label your sets with your name. And I think, that's great. And very functional. So this one gets Carly's thumbs up. Um, and then this is a little bit, um, so this was not something that I have encountered, because it's not work I do. But there was a warning message when you moved an item from a holdings record and it was the last item. Um, but there, but in fact, if the holdings record was the only one attached to the bib record, the holding wasn't deleted. Its library and location data was changed. So they've fixed the warning message. So really, they didn't actually change the process. They just fixed that their warning message was inaccurate. But if that was something that was bugging you or you didn't know that it worked that way, yeah, I felt like it might be worth sharing. So I think this year we're going to see feature releases that focus on um, the new UI, that split screen and table view functionality of things, coming to more and more modules and, like action areas. But as far as Primo goes, we're not going to see a lot of feature releases because the new NDE release is coming, and they're really working on that. So I could not get this to work in the sandbox view, but hopefully we will see this happen in the live view. I suppose I could. Um, so when you do a search in Primo, it's so like the default sorting is by relevance, and the new um in the new one there will be another sorting option. Um but I don't know where it is. Am I blind? Like, I don't see. Oh, there it is. Jeez Louise, Carly. Okay. So sort by um is defaulted to relevance, but they are going to make it so after this release, um, you can change that sort by, and if you're signed in, the sort by will stay at your last selected. So, maybe something nice to promote in library instruction sessions, or specifically, like some fields might want date newest versus relevance, but I don't know. I don't know. But um and then I just wanted to highlight this because we do have the Title II accessibility compliance stuff coming up. And Clarivate Ex Libris is um, consistently doing accessibility work, and you can see that in the feature releases. And so this was an example of how they improve the accessibility for the report a problem tool. And not everybody has report a problem visible in their Primo environment, but if you do, in February, there will be better accessibility for that. So can't say I've ever used it. So it's where do we, Amanda, do you know if you guys have it visible? Yeah, I don't think you do. So, um, so that is what I saw, uh, in the feature release notes. I'll add links to this document with the full page from Ex Libris. But anyone have any questions or want to look at something in more detail or look at something else in the sandbox?
Yes, I have one quick question back to the sushi piece.
Mm-hmm.
As vendors will keep sending us data in the old format, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. That's what I
Yeah.
assumed, but I know that I will be asked, so just wanted to
No,
confirm.
I
Thank
think
you.
how many, I think R4 basically stuck around for like solidly 3 years in parallel with R5. Some smaller vendors continued to use R4 after that. Um, but I would say R5 will, yeah, we've got a couple years before 5.1 really becomes the default. Um, that's why no rush in adding it now. Because yeah, the R5 harvesting should be fine for a while. Here I'll add the links now. Um, and and oh, where's the calendar? Um, where's the calendar? Where's the calendar? I'm trying to figure out exactly what day in February it's getting pushed. Just so that you guys have a heads up. There we go. Release and maintenance schedule. February 2nd, production release. And because this is a feature release, it looks like the February 9th, um, will be everything. Um, so I'll put that in here just as kind of a note. February 2nd, no, 9th. What'd I say? February 9th. So if you get questions from staff working in Alma about small changes, you can direct them here. So May will be when the NDE first gets released for folks to start playing with it. But don't worry, we will have an NDE work group and recommendations, and we will develop plans for that migration. It's all coming. I just don't know enough about it yet to start that work. Thanks, Ex Libris. All right. Anything else? Okay. I'm gonna stop the recording.